The morning sun slipped through the white curtains, painting golden lines across the wooden floor of the small but cozy house. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee mixed with the smell of pancakes drifted from the kitchen. Papa, Daddy, hurry, a tiny voice echoed through the house. 5-year-old Kookie ran down the hallway wearing dinosaur pajamas. His fluffy black hair bounced with every step as he giggled loudly. Behind him came Jungkook, pretending to chase him. I'm going to catch you. No, Kookie squealed, laughing so hard that he almost tripped. Just before he could fall, a pair of strong arms got him. Got you. Taehyung smiled warmly, lifting his son into the air. You two are making so much noise this early. Kookie wrapped his tiny arms around Taehyung's neck. Daddy, Papa said dinosaurs can fly. Taehyung looked at Jungkook dramatically. Really? Jungkook crossed his arms with a playful grin. I never said that. You did. I didn't. You did. Taehyung laughed so hard that tears gathered in the corners of his eyes. My boys are impossible. Jungkook watched the father and son together. His heart felt incredibly full. Moments like these reminded him why he believed he had the most beautiful family in the world.
The three of them sat together at the breakfast table. Taehyung carefully cut Kookie's pancakes into little stars, opened wide. Kookie opened his mouth dramatically. Ah! Taehyung fed him. Good boy. Jungkook couldn't stop smiling. You spoil him. Taehyung looked offended. Our son deserves everything. Kookie proudly nodded. I deserve ice cream too. No, both parents answered together. The little boy pouted. You're both mean. They burst into laughter. After breakfast, it was time for school. Jungkook adjusted Kookie's tiny backpack. Do you have your lunch? Yes. Water bottle? Yes. Pencil box? Yes. Hug. Kookie giggled and threw himself into Jungkook's arms. Taehyung smiled while watching them. Sometimes he wondered how he had become this lucky. Outside the school, Kookie suddenly stopped. He grabbed both of their hands. One tiny hand held Jungkook. The other held Taehyung. I love walking with both of you. Taehyung looked at Jungkook. Their eyes met. Without saying a word, they smiled. Years ago, they had promised that no matter how busy life became, Kookie would always grow up surrounded by love. That evening, they celebrated a small family movie night. The living room was filled with pillows and blankets. Popcorn covered the coffee table. Halfway through the movie, Kookie had already fallen asleep between them. Jungkook gently brushed the little boy's hair away from his forehead. He looks just like you. Taehyung smiled. He has your smile, and your eyes, and your stubbornness. Jungkook nudged him. Excuse me? Taehyung laughed softly. Okay, maybe that's from both of us. After carrying Kookie to bed, the house became quiet. Jungkook stepped onto the balcony. The cool evening breeze brushed against his face. A moment later, Taehyung wrapped his arms around him from behind. You look tired. Jungkook leaned back against his chest. Just thinking. About? Nothing. Taehyung kissed the top of his head. Thank you. Jungkook turned around. For what? For giving me this life. Jungkook smiled through slightly watery eyes. You gave me this life too. They stood there silently watching the stars. Neither of them knew that this peaceful night would become one of the memories Jungkook would treasure the most. Because life has a cruel way of changing without warning. Sometimes happiness doesn't disappear all at once. Sometimes it leaves quietly. A late meeting, a missed hug, a delayed reply, a smile meant for someone else. And by the time you realize the distance between two hearts, it may already be too late. The silence in the penthouse had become a living, breathing thing. It wasn't the peaceful quiet of a home at rest. It was the heavy, suffocating silence of two people drifting apart in a vast, empty ocean. Jungkook stood at the kitchen island, his hands gripping the edge of the polished marble until his knuckles turned white. The clock on the wall ticked past 11 p.m. On the stove, the elaborate dinner he had spent 3 hours preparing had grown cold, the rich aromas curdling into a bitter reminder of another wasted evening. A soft sound from the hallway broke his trance. Turning, Jungkook's expression softened instantly. 5-year-old Kookie stood there, rubbing his sleepy eyes, clutching a worn-out plush tiger. "Papa," the little boy whispered, his voice laced with sleep. "Is Daddy home yet?" Jungkook swallowed the lump in his throat, forcing a warm, bright smile onto his face. He knelt down, opening his arms. Kookie padded over and crawled into them, burying his face in Jungkook's neck. "Not yet, my love," Jungkook murmured, running a gentle hand through his son's soft curls. "Daddy is very busy at the office. Big, important meetings. Let's get you back to bed, okay?" "But Daddy promised he would read me the space story tonight," Kookie pouted, his lower lip trembling. Jungkook's heart squeezed. Kim Taehyung used to cross oceans to make it home for bedtime stories. Now, he couldn't even cross the city limits before midnight. "I know, baby. I'll read it to you instead. How about that?" After tucking Kookie back in and lingering until the boy's breathing evened out, Jungkook returned to the living room. Just as he sat down on the sofa, the front door clicked open. Taehyung walked in. Once Taehyung's entrance would fill the room with warmth. He would immediately look for Jungkook, his arms wrapping around his waist, his deep voice murmuring against Jungkook's lips about how much he missed him. Tonight, Taehyung didn't even look up from his phone. He loosened his silk tie with one hand, his handsome face etched with exhaustion and boredom. "You're late," Jungkook said softly, keeping his tone entirely free of accusation. He didn't want a fight, he just wanted his husband back. "Work," Taehyung replied shortly, tossing his briefcase onto the armchair. He finally glanced at Jungkook, but his eyes were completely blank. There was no spark, no affection. "Just a cold, polite tolerance." "I made your favorite, the braised short ribs," Jungkook said, rising to his feet and gesturing to the kitchen. "I can reheat it for you in just a minute." "Don't bother. I ate at the office," Taehyung said, already turning toward the guest bed. "Taehyung, wait," Jungkook breathed, taking a tentative step forward. His heart was hammering against his ribs. "Can we just talk for a minute? We haven't really spoken in weeks. You look so distant. If something is wrong, if I did something." "Jungkook, please," Taehyung interrupted, his voice laced with profound irritation. He rubbed his temples, refusing to meet Jungkook's eyes. "I am exhausted. I don't have the energy for this dramatic interrogation right now. Just leave it alone." With that, Taehyung walked into the guest room and shut the door. Jungkook stood frozen in the center of the dark living room. The rejection stung worse than a physical blow. He wrapped his arms around himself, trying to hold together the pieces of his shattering heart. "He's bored of me," Jungkook thought, a tear finally escaping and tracking down his pale cheek. "He doesn't love me anymore." That night, Jungkook lay awake beside his sleeping husband. There was barely an inch between them, yet it felt like miles. He turned toward Taehyung. Carefully, almost timidly, he reached for his hand For years, their fingers had naturally intertwined before they slept. Tonight, Taehyung shifted in his sleep. His hand slipped away. Jungkook quietly pulled his own hand back and stared into the darkness. The room was silent, but inside his heart, questions echoed louder than ever. Did I do something wrong? Did I stop being enough? Is he just stressed? Or am I slowly losing the person who once promised to love me forever? A single tear rolled silently down his cheek. Beside him, Taehyung slept peacefully, unaware of the storm growing in the heart of the man who still loved him with everything he had. Outside, the rain continued to fall. Neither of them knew that this quiet distance was only the beginning. The days ahead would test their love in ways neither of them could imagine. Morning arrived quietly. The golden sunlight slipped through the curtains, warming the bedroom. Jungkook slowly opened his eyes. For a brief second, he instinctively reached toward Taehyung's side of the bed. It was cold. He immediately sat up. The bathroom door was open. Taehyung had already left, without saying goodbye, without even waking him. Jungkook looked toward the bedside table. There was only a small sticky note. Had an early meeting. Don't wait for me. Tea. No heart. No love you. Nothing. Jungkook stared at the note for several seconds before folding it neatly and placing it inside the drawer. Taehyung used to leave little love notes. Don't forget to eat. You're the prettiest when you smile. Kiss Kookie for me. Now, even his handwriting looked distant. Papa. Little Kookie came running into the room wearing his tiny school uniform, one shoe on and the other in his hand. I can't find my sock. Jungkook blinked away the sadness and forced a bright smile. The sock monster stole it again? Kookie gasped dramatically. I knew it. The only way to defeat the sock monster is to clean your room. The little boy groaned. He's too powerful. Jungkook laughed softly. Come here. Within minutes, he found the missing sock hiding under the bed. Victory! Kookie threw both hands into the air. My papa is a superhero. Jungkook kissed his forehead. No, I'm just your papa. And that's better. For a moment, the heaviness in Jungkook's heart became lighter. That afternoon, Jungkook decided to surprise Taehyung at work. He packed lunch, prepared fresh coffee, included a small handwritten note. You've been working so hard. Don't skip lunch. We love you, Jungkook and Kookie. He smiled as he closed the lunch box. Maybe this will make his day. Half an hour later, Jungkook stood in the lobby of Taehyung's company. The receptionist smiled politely. Good afternoon. How may I help you? I'm here to see my husband, Mr. Kim Taehyung. Oh, the receptionist checked her computer. I'm sorry, sir. He left about 30 minutes ago. Jungkook blinked. He left? Yes. I thought he had meetings all afternoon. I'm not sure where he went. Jungkook thanked her politely and walked back outside. He looked down at the lunchbox, still warm in his hands. The little note inside suddenly felt much heavier. Across the street, the wind gently lifted a few leaves from the sidewalk. Jungkook stood there alone. For the first time, a quiet, frightening thought crossed his mind. If he wasn't at work, then where was he? He shook his head immediately. No, he whispered to himself. I trust Taehyung. He had just picked Kookie up from his kindergarten class. The little boy was bubbling with energy, holding Jungkook's hand and skipping along the sidewalk, talking excitedly about a drawing he had made. Look, Papa! I drew a big spaceship for us, you and Daddy. Kookie proudly displayed a crumpled piece of construction paper. It's beautiful, Kookie. We'll put it right on the refrigerator. Jungkook smiled, though the mention of Taehyung sent a dull ache through his chest. On the way home, Kookie suddenly asked, Papa, yes? Does Daddy still love us? Jungkook almost stumbled. He looked at his son. Those innocent brown eyes were filled with confusion. Why would you ask that? Because. Kookie looked down at his melting ice cream. He doesn't smile with us anymore. Jungkook knelt in front of him. He gently wiped a drop of ice cream from Kookie's chin. Daddy loves you very, very much. What about you? The question stole the air from Jungkook's lungs. He smiled anyway. He loves me too. Then why is he always somewhere else? Jungkook had no answer, so he hugged Kookie tightly. Sometimes, a hug was the only answer a broken heart could give. Monday afternoon arrived. Jungkook left early to pick Kookie up from school. As they walked toward the parking lot, Kookie skipped happily beside him. Papa, I got a gold star today. You did? Look. He proudly showed a shiny gold sticker on his notebook. Jungkook kissed his forehead. I'm so proud of you. I'm going to show Daddy. He'll be happy. I know he will. Jungkook prayed that was true. On their way home, Kookie suddenly tugged on Jungkook's sleeve. Papa, look! He pointed across the street. Isn't that Daddy's car? Jungkook looked up. His heartbeat slowed, then stopped, parked outside a quiet cafe. Was Taehyung's familiar black car? Jungkook smiled to himself. Maybe he's meeting a client. He glanced toward the cafe windows. Then his smile disappeared. Inside, near the large glass window, sat Taehyung. Across from him was a young man in a cream-colored shirt with neatly styled hair. Jungkook recognized him immediately. Taehyung's secretary. The same person Taehyung had mentioned a few times over dinner months ago. The secretary was laughing. Taehyung laughed too. Not politely. Not out of courtesy. He laughed the way he used to laugh at home. The way he used to laugh with Jungkook. His eyes crinkled. His shoulders relaxed. He looked happy, genuinely happy. Jungkook stood frozen on the sidewalk. The world around him blurred. As Jungkook watched, paralyzed, Hanbyo reached across the table, playfully wiping a bit of pastry cream from the corner of Taehyung's lip. Taehyung didn't pull away. Instead, he caught her hand, holding it gently for a moment, whispering something that made her blush and look down. The world went completely silent around Jungkook. The sound of traffic, the chatter of pedestrians, his own son's voice, everything drowned out by the roaring thud of his breaking heart. The betrayal wasn't just a physical act. It was the realization that Taehyung was giving his joy, his laughter, and his affection to someone else, while leaving nothing but ashes for the family at home. Papa? Kookie pulled harder on his sleeve, looking up with wide, innocent eyes. Why are you crying? Does your tummy hurt? Jungkook quickly wiped his eyes with the back of his hand, forcing a trembling smile. He looked back at the window. Taehyung was still looking at her as if she were the center of his universe. No, sweetie, Jungkook choked out, his voice cracking. Papa just got a bit of dust in his eye. Come on, let's go home and get you a snack. He didn't storm into the cafe. He didn't make a scene. He simply turned his back, gripped his son's hand a little tighter, and walked away, carrying a weight that felt heavy enough to crush him.